Here's why I will never go back to working the 9-to-5 schedule. As a freelancer, an independent contractor to be exact, I enjoy greater flexibility in my work. I have amazing clients that I've worked with across the years. I have people seek me out to do contract writing opportunities. I have unique opportunities to travel, to coalition build, to do all these different skill sets. And in my nearly 5 years of being a freelancer, I've seen the tangible benefits that come with being a freelancer. Are there trade-offs to this type of work? Of course. I do sometimes miss working in an office. I do sometimes miss seeing friends on a regular basis. And at times in this line of work, you certainly have your peaks and your valleys, and that's okay. You have your good days, you have your bad days, you have great clients, you have bad clients, subpar clients. You have long-term contracts, short-term contracts. You feel like you've accomplished many things. Sometimes you don't feel like you accomplished many things. But I seriously would not trade this for anything, even with all the different curveballs thrown my way. I think the flexibility afforded to freelancers is magnificent, especially if you have a family and you want more of a work-life balance. Dictating your own work schedule as a freelancer or entering a contract relationship with different companies or individuals is super ideal, especially if you're juggling that. The inherent benefits to freelancing now show that people are happier and healthier. They feel like they're more fulfilled. They love the flexibility that comes with freelancing. They love being able to pick and choose the people they work with. They love not being constricted to a 9-to-5 schedule. And my wish for anyone wanting to pursue freelancing is that you come into this with an open mind. When you first start out, it's not going to be sunshine and lollipops. It may take you a few years until you reach your goals in terms of revenue, in terms of number of clients, in terms of where you want to be as a professional. And while it may be difficult in the beginning, let me say the dividends will pay off in the long run. It may take a few years until you hit your apex as a freelancer, but that shouldn't deter you from going into this process. As more people contemplate freelancing, they should be encouraged in this line of work. That's why 59 million Americans now freelance, and that number is ever growing. If you convert that figure, that's 36% of the workforce. And our contributions as freelancers, all 59 million of us, is valued at $1.2 trillion. That's so incredible. How could you argue with that? There are different forces at work, unfortunately, trying to undermine freelancing. You have regulators and government who don't like the fact that this burgeoning sector of the economy is flourishing, that many people are flocking to it, that it can't really be tamed by their whims. You have public sector unions, on the other hand, who feel like gig workers are exploited, that they want to be unionized, that they need their help, especially as they're a fledgling sector of the economy. Only 10.3% of the US workforce is unionized. So you see a little bit of jealousy in terms of competition being outlasted and competition being outmaneuvered by the gig economy. So you have those two forces at work, and sadly, a lot of politicians and those union interests are going to work in concert with one another to ensure that freelancers have limited possibilities going forward. And while there are different individuals out there seeking to undermine freelancing, do not get deterred. It's important for every freelancer out there who has a platform or the ability to communicate, to share the joys of freelancing, share their story. I'm happy to share my story of freelancing, why I got into this, and I will. I plan to communicate my story more openly if I can and when I can. I plan to communicate my story more freely to shed light on what goes into this line of work, why it's possible that anyone can do it if they have the work ethic and they have the mindset to do so. This has to be a bipartisan effort to preserve the livelihoods of gig workers. It shouldn't just be a Republican issue. It shouldn't just be a Democrat issue. Gig workers span the political spectrum, and we need a concerted effort by people across the political spectrum to preserve our livelihoods and challenge bad legislation like the PRO Act or AB 5 or companion bills across different state legislatures. I want the ability to have the freedom to work. I don't want someone dictating to me what I can and cannot do, to put limits on my work potential, to put limits on my capabilities as an individual and a worker in this country. I pay taxes, just like every other person. I don't want to be burdened any further and have any obstacles thrown my way more than I already have to functioning and operating as a sole proprietor and as an independent contractor. I think many of you share that same concern. Under the American free enterprise system, innovation and creative disruption should be welcomed, especially when it comes to the US workforce. Many people feel empowered now to take matters into their own hands, start their own businesses, to start their own conglomerates and succeed, maximize their profits and earnings, and to have a great work-life balance. And if we take that away, if that is taken away from us, especially with the promises of minimum wage hikes, the promises of higher taxes, and if gig work similarly is further regulated and hindered upon, it's going to create a lot of complications for Americans going forward. Let's preserve the gig economy.